What is up, everybody? How's it going?
We're back.
We took our vacation 1 week.
Did it.
Season
Sorry, Chad.
2. Just kidding.
Season 2 of Practically Addict Nah. How long do seasons typically last in these things anyway?
I don't know. I mean, this is our 23rd episode.
It seems good.
We've done it.
We've been
consistent.
consistent. Like,
Yeah.
that's weird. Never been consistent. Well, I have. I don't know. Working on sale for 5 years now. Like, I'm
That's pretty consistent.
Consistent AF, as the kids say these days.
AF. I think that's old
AF.
now, man.
Is
I
that?
think that's what the kids say nowadays.
I'm not hip anymore.
No.
Got it.
You got to say like skibbity riz.
I ain't got that Ohio Riz hairline receding crap. I don't know, kids. Teach me the brain rot, chat. Teach me some brain rot. But we're back, guys. We had to skip out last week because I had to be a dad. So sorry, but duty calls, boys. Duty calls. But we're back,
Happens, man.
And there has been a lot of stuff that has happened that we got to talk about. So
yeah,
we gotta have it.
We are not hip anymore. I'm Mr. Hay. We are not hip. I don't know if Garrett and I ever were. That's the thing.
I need to speak for yourself, man. I'm hip AF. I'm the bee's knees.
You're the bee's knees. You were too legit to quit.
I'm too legit.
I think that's what the youth say nowadays, right?
We're really dating ourselves right now.
I still say legit, so whatever.
I realized the other night on stream that there's a couple words that I used quite prolifically as a teenager that are no longer acceptable.
Uh-oh.
And so I was like, oh, goodness. Not my fault. I blame society for those fourth fallouts. But, oh, interesting. I feel like everyone's excited about this episode, guys, because we are going to be talking about a lot of things, but mainly we're going to be talking about the Switch 2, the announcements. There's a lot to go over. To go over, but we always usually start this out, guys, with a couple of gaming wins and losses. So we'll get into that first, and then we're going to do a deep dive on this Nintendo stuff because there is so much to talk about. And if you guys have questions, if you have things you'd like us to talk about, please hit us up in the chat. We are live on usually Wednesdays. This is Thursday, but we're usually live on Wednesdays. So if you hit us live, you can hit us up with questions and stuff. But if you guys got questions, hit us up. But
thank you.
Anyway, so wins and losses. You got anything?
I have a pretty big win. So one of the games that I've talked about multiple times now, the Bazaar, they had like some controversy with their inner community because of the way they monetized the game in the beta. People were super upset. All the streamers were threatening, like, if the monetization didn't change, then we're going to stop basically live streaming and playing and putting YouTube videos up. Which the owner of the game and the company that has made it is kind of a weird guy. He's always been pretty controversial in all like the card game communities he's been a part of. So it wasn't anything new for his monetization to be controversial, but they updated to the official full launch of the game this week. Okay. So we're in version 1.0, and they updated the monetization and literally met every single desire that the community had for monetization. They backtracked everything that they did incorrectly, that people felt like they did incorrectly, and now you can play the entire game free to play. You can, of course, pay a little bit to skip some of the, monotony of unlocking everything, but now everything that you need to play the game is completely available to anybody that wants to play for free. So,
nice.
Huge win. People are extremely excited about it, and all the content creators are super excited. So they're going to keep rolling out content, which is like daily. My favorite thing to watch is just the Bazaar content. So yeah, big win. Super excited that they listened, and everybody's really happy with the community right now.
That's just, I almost wonder sometimes if some of these studios are doing it on purpose. Like they're pissing people off in early access to just get like this redemption story. Cause it really does make people like love your game more if you like start off like so controversial and they want to see it succeed, and then they're like, yeah, we'll come back. I call it the Sonic the Hedgehog theory, right? It's like people like, you just listen to your fans, even if you do it like, almost scripted. It's so great.
Yeah, I think they like, I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the monetization, but I'm a developer and I understand like you have to make money off the games that you make. So sometimes it's hard because they've been working on the game for like 4 or 5 years now without any income. essentially. Like the guy who owns the studio has just kind of been fronting everything, the whole development process, and they have to start getting some of that back,
Yeah,
one way or another. So monetization is nothing, or is always something that people get mad and upset about, but doing it the right way, I think, can help build your community even more. So that's what I'm hoping.
that's huge.
Yeah.
That is huge. Oh, cool. Well, I was literally just thinking about what my win was for this week, and it was a really good win. Oh, okay. This isn't necessarily a gaming win, but this is a
Okay.
tech win. Did I tell you about Palmer Luckey taking over the United States military AR headset
I
contract?
saw that. Yeah.
Okay, so you know who Palmer Luckey is, right?
Hmm.
He's the guy that basically resurrected virtual reality from the grave single-handedly in a RV on his parents' driveway. Absolutely fascinating story. If you haven't read his biography, called The History of the Future, it's really, really interesting. Gives you like a
Cool.
really deep dive of like the craziness that was the coming of Oculus into the modern age.
Yeah.
Anyway, he has recently, so his story for people to kind of catch up on it, he created Oculus, sold it to Meta, or what was formerly Facebook, for like $4.5 billion or something like that, and was working at Oculus Studios at the time, trying to keep things going, keep things rolling. And around the 2016 presidential election, he was not fired, but suspiciously released from Facebook due to political affiliations, is the only thing we don't know for sure what the reason was,
Interesting.
but it sure does look like it was his political affiliations that got Meta to get him out, which is very ironic considering who Zuckerberg is in cahoots with these days. Anyway, I digress. The long and short of it is after he did his whole Oculus thing, he created a army contracting company. Basically, like literally think Stark Industries, but
Yeah.
the name of the company is called Anduril, and he's been making crazy tech for the military, like doing absolutely incredible things. But he's always had his eye on VR. Like you can tell that like VR is his passion. He kind of did these other things because like he was able to do these other things. Anyway, so he's been doing that since like 2016 when he was kicked out of Meta. But then we got word like what was it 2 years ago that Microsoft was awarded a contract from the US government to develop augmented reality headsets for soldiers to use in active combat.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 years, they have been very unsuccessful at getting any kind of useful results. And so the contract went up for like someone else could take it over. And again, it's worth $22 billion. And Anduril, led by Palmer Luckey, took it over. Which now to put this into perspective, guys, before he was given $4 billion for the Oculus headset. And now the United States military has handed him $22 billion to make augmented and virtual reality happen.
Yeah.
And his quote, like I gotta look up his exact quote when he was asked about it. Let me find it because it is so freaking stellar. Palmer Luckey contract quote. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. Oh, I gotta find it. Oh, it's gonna take me a minute. Anyway, basically, he said, "Take whatever you're imagining I'm gonna do, times that by 10, and do it again, and that's what I'm actually gonna do." It's like, whoa.
I,
So
you know, I used to be a huge Palmer Lucky fan, and like, not that I dislike him or anything. Like, I don't know. He went to AWE. What was it, last year?
yeah,
And spoke at a bunch of stuff, and just like what he had to say about a lot of different things made me kind of feel like he's kind of a sleazeball. Like, in all honesty, and I don't know, I get weird vibes from him now. Like, I'm happy if he is able to help everything progress, but I don't know. He's just not my favorite person in the world, if that makes sense. But he's really smart, so
he's
we'll see what
smart
he can
and he's
do.
done it before. And with a
Yeah.
crap ton of funding like he's getting, I just really do think that he will take it to the next level. And the thing I've been talking to a lot of people recently, really kind of interesting. The last couple of weeks, I've had a lot of kind of private conversations with people in the VR space, and like without like throwing anyone under the bus, everyone needs a new headset to distribute on. Like
Yeah.
it's getting bad. So anyway, that's kind of my win because that's huge. Like we basically handed the one guy who could bring VR to be actually useful and intelligent $22 billion to make it happen. So that is going to be a huge win for virtual reality, in my opinion.
Yeah. It'll be good. I don't know. I'm excited for it. I think it'll be good. I think that he will push the industry further. Meta needs competition, and
Absolutely.
$22 billion will build competition for Meta.
You can't get competition with $22 billion. The industry is dead. We need to bury it and we'll move out back. Like, it's golly Christmas. Anyway.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see if the government lets him do anything with that isn't government related,
So, like, if you want to deep dive on the history of technology, almost everything that we have in the modern age that is convenient or works really
For
well
sure.
is thanks to government contracting. Like
Yeah.
microprocessors and stuff like that. The reason we have smartphones in our pockets is because government funding made it so that we could fly rockets with an onboard computer called a micro. What is it called? Micro
Microprocessor?
transistors. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Anyway, most of what we have is thanks to government
from the
contracts.
military.
So if we want to
Yeah.
see VR make big leaps and bounds forward, no one
It'll
is
be the
better at
government.
it than the United States government.
That's true.
So I think that's the right path for things. And I regardless of like what people think of Palmer Luckey, like his work speaks for himself. Like he
Yeah,
continues
definitely.
to make just actually workable products. Even in the military space, like the stuff he's doing at Anduril, he makes products that just work. So
Yeah. I think you can be a sleazeball person but still make awesome stuff. So,
I had so many
his
names jump into my
character.
brain that I was like, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus. I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus.
Yeah. Your character doesn't define what you can do as a person. So,
It's true. It's hard. Sometimes your actions speak louder than your words, and
Yeah, for
both
sure.
bad and good ways. But
Yeah.
that's where we're at. Anyway, that's my
Well,
win for the week.
my loss has to do with the Switch 2. So, do
Mine
you have
doesn't.
anything that's not Switch 2 related? Okay.
Yeah. So this is personal opinion, but I think it will overall be a loss. Tencent just announced that they are going to be purchasing 10% stake in Ubisoft.
I did see that. Yep.
Which I think I'm not super stoked about that overall. I've read a couple of things that have said that they will have access to some of their bigger IPs, such as like Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six Siege, and whatnot, which could be good or bad. I always feel like it's a really bad state for any. I mean, Ubisoft's not in a good position regardless.
No,
but
for sure.
this is like almost making it worse because if you bring in another power player into like the complicated construct that is a company trying to make video games that are
like Voice
fun
Studio.
and also profitable,
Mhm.
it's just going to stir things up. And Tencent, they've done good things, they've done bad things, and it's a partnership that overall, looking at it at face value, I'm like, this is an L. I can't see how this is gonna be good long term. But Ubisoft's in trouble. They have some beloved IPs. Assassin's Creed Shadows has done okay, but it's being overpassed by a drug creating game simulation. Don't ban me, YouTuber Twitch. It's just what the game is about. Don't blame me. It's called Schedule 1. I'm sorry.
That's funny.
So yeah, kind of an L seeing that power shift with Ubisoft, but I mean Ubisoft's in trouble, so maybe it'll be a W. But right now, at face value, I'm kind of like, I don't love the idea of Tencent getting involved.
I'm optimistic about it because obviously things haven't been working at Ubisoft, so maybe this will force them to change. If anything does force them to change, it would be new ownership, and I don't know.
Tencent is interesting because they are like the kings of accessibility as well. Like Tencent has distributed on all platforms. And so that could be an interesting move. Like I noticed that Assassin's Creed Shadows launched on just about every device you could possibly launch on. And it launched well. Like it launched fairly free of bugs, all things considered. And that's impressive for, like launching on 5 to, I think the final count was somewhere like 7 to 8 different platforms all told.
Yeah.
So Tencent, I feel like will very much push that. I'm a big proponent of things like mobile game versions of games. Like I would love to see Rainbow Six Siege mobile come out. It was announced a while ago, but never actually happened. I feel like Tencent could help bring that, which would be good for Ubisoft's portfolio. Anyway, but Tencent is also Tencent, so
yeah,
it is what it is.
You're already getting beard comments.
Oh my gosh, I should make that a thing. I should be like $100.
How many donos? Yeah.
How many donations to shave the beard? That'd be funny. Good one, chat. Good one, chat. Well, Let's move into it, dude. Let's hear your loss and let's start this crazy Switch 2 stuff.
Okay. So with everything that's going on with the Switch, with them increasing the price of the Switch, with them increasing the price of the games, all of that, I'm like neither here nor there for. I don't
Sure.
really care. Developers and studios can do what they want. Price increases are to be expected as games continue to grow. The craziest thing for me is that they are remonetizing old games by making people probably spend $20 to $30, if I'm being honest, to get new content inside of old games. So like every single one where they had the Legend of Zelda, they're getting like it's not DLCs though. Like to be able to use it on the Switch 2, it sounded like to get all of the stuff
Oh,
for
yeah.
the new
The
version of the
upgrades.
game. Yeah, you have to upgrade a game that you already own. Like that to me is one of the weirdest things that they're doing with this whole thing. Basically, they're remonetizing everything that people already own to make more money off of like things that people have already purchased. I don't know. It's not even like a DLC type thing. I mean, I guess you could consider it a DLC, but like to even get the increase of quality and it's just really weird to me that the way they're going about that like specific thing. There's like the
They-
5 or 6 titles that they have that to upgrade it from being a Switch 1 title to a Switch 2 title, you're going to have to pay some type of money, which is interesting. I don't know. That to me is
Yeah,
the
that is
weirdest part
interesting.
of all of these announcements.
I'm trying to think of like from the back end perspective, like what would require, because obviously, like the business idea behind this would be like, hey, this cost us money to make it so that this game worked with the new hardware. Here's what that looks like from a monetary perspective of how much dev time that took, and this is what we need to recuperate it and or make profit off of it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think like how different is the hardware actually so different that it would require like a full, because what I'm looking at this as is they're basically saying like this was essentially a port from the old hardware to the new hardware. It was that complicated to get the new
But
graphics working.
all the other
But
games are backwards compatible. Like why
that's
would they
that's why
need
it
to?
doesn't make
I
sense in my
don't
head. And I'm
yeah.
trying to make sense of that. And it's like, but yeah, half the other games are backwards compatible. Maybe
So
because they use different engines. I don't know.
no, I think it is literally just they're trying to monetize people already owning games that they love and wanting to play them on the new console. So they're trying to give people a way to spend money essentially. And again, maybe you could look at it as like a DLC type thing,
Sure.
which I guess if you want to justify it that way, that's fine. But it's just really weird to me. Um, yeah, I don't know that like sure, $90 for a video game is expensive, but that's I'm gonna be honest with you, probably gonna be kind of normal with like the what is it, GTA 6 and all these
Oh,
things people are talking about. Like games are just getting more expensive. I hate to break it to you
I
guys, but I think that's going to be normal for
we're
like
we're
full feature games. But
which is scary and sad at the same time. Like scary on on the part where we're basically gonna get this giant divide of the free to play games that have heavy microtransactions in
yep,
order to keep themselves running, and then incredibly overpriced AAA titles where you have to spend the equivalent of like the year's rent in order to like have just the game at the quality that it is, and that's scary. Which again, that kind of gap would also open up like a lot of indie development room.
yeah,
One of the things I love about VR right now is like basically someone will make a really good VR game and then they price it like $30, and then someone comes along in like 2 months and makes a free to play version of that same game and like just absolutely craps on that game's success. But it's just both bad and good at the same time. We can totally talk about it. But
yeah,
that giant price gap that they're opening up between free and way too expensive is the perfect place for indie developers to live.
for
So I
sure.
think there'll be definitely some things there. The $90 price, I know everyone wants us to talk about this, so we should talk about it.
Yeah,
Like games are getting more expensive. That's
yeah,
just the way it is, guys. Like, and honestly, the only way we can stop it is not to pay for it. But unfortunately, not paying for it means we don't get to play it
yep,
until it goes on sale and like a Steam sale or an Epic Store sale or whatever. And that sucks because like there's definitely like a hype when it comes to video games. You want to get on when it's new and
yeah,
it's hype and whatnot. But the other option is free to play microtransaction heavy like we were just saying, like I don't know what's the worst of two evils. Like, do you pay up front to not have to deal with like the scam that is like free to play sometimes, or do you deal with kind of the super terrible monetization policies of free to play?
Yeah.
It's rough.
I
But
mean, like, yes, games getting more expensive. Nintendo has always been kind of a weird outlier for video games anyway.
for
Their
sure,
games never depreciate in value, right?
yeah,
You could go and buy, Mario, let's see, Mario Odyssey for the Switch from GameStop right now, and it would still cost the same used as it did when you bought it originally when it was like
yep.
Nintendo games have never depreciated.
They don't
And
bring them down over time.
they're the only company that has valuable intellectual property anymore, I feel like PlayStation doesn't have exclusives that are valuable intellectual property. Xbox doesn't have exclusives that are valuable intellectual property. Nintendo is the only gaming company that has valuable intellectual property that you can only play on Nintendo consoles. So, and $60, yeah, $60 was a lot of money in 2016. But if you think about like the price of games, I feel like $60 was just kind of this like arbitrary value. I don't know where $60 came from, but it's been that way for a long time. Games
For
have cost $60 for a long time. If you
yeah,
think about how much like inflation has gone up, like they've just lost money when they sell games, and like the size of the teams that have been working on video games have been growing astronomically because we expect and demand more out of video games. It takes a lot longer and a lot more effort to get a video game developed. So at some point, there had to be like this break in the dam, and games had to start being more expensive. It sucks, but if Donkey Kong is as dope as it looked, where I can just smash through everything and like explore everything, and I'm getting hundreds of hours of gameplay out of a game like that, then $90 and $60, like that's not really that big of a difference for hundreds of hours of gameplay.
yeah.
So
I really like you mentioned this previously on the podcast, and I kind of like thinking about. I've started thinking about games in this way, where you say like per what is it? It's like per dollar you spend, you're hoping to get like 20 minutes of fun or something like that. Like what is
yeah,
it?
yeah, and it's still like an extremely cheap way to entertain yourself if you think about it. Like if you could spend $1 for 20 minutes, that's $3 for an hour. Like going to a movie is, way more expensive than that. Like anything else that you do, entertainment wise, is so much more expensive than buying a video game and playing it. Granted, you have to buy the console, like there are other costs that go with it, but buying a video game is one of the cheapest forms of entertainment still, I feel like. Unless you're a book reader, but let's be honest, like most of the people that are playing tons of video games probably aren't super big book readers either because we have monkey brains that like the dopamine, and I don't get that same dopamine from reading a book in most cases. There's some that catch me every once in a while, but I don't know. I think yeah, I think you kind of have to think about video games, and us as consumers have become like so, I guess, demanding when it comes to what we expect from video games because free to play has spoiled us.
Yep.
I have always hated free to play video games. I think it is the worst like game thing to happen in video games for, I don't know, the last 10 years. Like it has destroyed the video game market. So
Well, it destroyed the video game market as we knew it. It has evolved it into something new, and it has like free to play has definitely brought with it some interesting changes, like especially when it comes to accessibility. Like you and I both lived in second and third world countries for a while, and I don't know if this was the case for you, but in the place that I lived, the only games anyone could afford to play because of the conversion rate from their currency to the US dollar was free
yeah,
to play. There's the only reason they could play modern games was
for
because of
sure.
that accessibility. Like us, like the people in the United States paying for all the microtransactions are actually funding third world
Yep.
country kids to be able to play games at all. So
Mhm.
there's that redeeming factor. But I agree. Like definitely going free to play has changed it because sorry, but free is the most accessible number to anyone there ever is. But it's not technically free because there's other things they have to do. But I don't know. I'm curious because they also announced a lot of stuff Switch with their online services, like the Nintendo online services. Like I noticed that they're going to be putting like a lot of GameCube games with their new official GameCube controller.
I'm stoked for that.
I'm so stoked about that. And more, I feel like these big companies are realizing that the subscription model works better for them than these one-time purchase things. And so, like, I also saw that to counteract scalpers. Did you see what they're doing to counteract the scalpers of the Nintendo Switch 2? So they will be opening up pre-orders first and foremost to Nintendo online service players who have hours and hours of gameplay recorded on games that require like the Nintendo Switch online service. So like they're literally going to open it up to the people who are actually using their product first instead of just like opening it up to the market, which allows scalpers to come in and just price gouge and everything like that. So
yeah,
I can respect them for that. But I'm hoping that Nintendo online service thing becomes even more akin to like Xbox because that's what's going to be affordable going forward. If this is the price range they're going to be going.
Yeah. So. I saw Blinky's comment that they disagreed with what we said. It's slippery slope thinking. And that, let's see, what did he say? We expect quality, yet are served to slop for $70. No excuse for 80 or 90. I get that. I'm not justifying what AAA studios are doing. I think that we are getting a lot of trash video games. I don't play the trash. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't play trash video games. I've not bought an Ubisoft game. I've not bought a Call of Duty game. Like, I don't play AAA games. I play indie games. I hardly ever... I don't invest money into those things because I don't find them quality, but I've never been upset with a Nintendo game that's like a Mario IP or a Donkey Kong IP. Or, like, I've always had tons of fun with them. So to me, like, yeah, you're paying $70, but you're getting slop. If I have to pay $80 to not get slop, then like that's fine with me. I'll play it. I'll be happy with it. If I get, 40 hours of gameplay out of it, then I'll be stoked. And that's probably close to, I don't know how long Mario games last. I haven't played a 3D Mario game in a while. Probably since Odyssey, but yeah, I don't know. You're right. But it is all based off of the market too. Like if people buy it, then
that's gonna be the real
nuts. Problem. That's gonna
what
like,
our most powerful, like as gamers and consumers, our most powerful thing is our wallets. Like the problem is like because it's the Nintendo Switch 2 and because Nintendo, people are gonna pay that price. Yeah. Like Jackson Cabrera is saying, like, do you think an $80 game is a scam? I kind of have to agree with Declan where like it depends. Like if it's a game, like I'm sorry, but if GTA 6 came out and said that it was gonna be like an 80, 90, or even $100 game, I will gladly pay that because I know GTA 6 is going to be one of the greatest games of this generation. And I think it deserves that price point. Whether or not the Nintendo games deserve that price point is to be determined. Typically speaking, Nintendo games, I'm with Declan, they've been great, right? They've been great. And I think they could deserve that $80 price point. It's just a really hard transition in an already really hard economy for everyone who's just the regular guy. Like $80 is becoming a lot in like most people's budgets. And so is it a scam? I don't think so. I just think that like the world's economy is not in the best place and we're seeing it everywhere where we just have to adjust and it sucks. And I don't like it, but I don't think they're trying to scam us. I truly do think that they think that's what it deserves.
Yeah.
But again, they are a for-profit organization. They are trying to make money off of this. And so they probably will.
And I love the comparison to Baldur's Gate 3 was $59.99. That is such a different like style of things though. I don't know. Yeah. Like the Baldur's Gate comparison for sure. Baldur's Gate, you can get tons of gameplay and stuff. But Garrett would probably never play Baldur's Gate. I'm not like, have you played Baldur's Gate? That's not.
I don't even know what Baldur's Gate is.
Baldur's Gate, yes, is an amazing game. I love Baldur's Gate. It's a Dungeons and Dragons game. It's gonna last you a long time. There's a lot of content inside of it, but it's pretty niche too. Like it's in a niche marketplace, I would say. D&D type stuff, turn-based video games is still a very, very niche industry. Whereas like Mario is Mario. It's iconic. It is like people are going to pay. I think they'll pay money for it. I don't know.
I think they did a study recently where they showed kids a picture of Jesus and a picture of Mario, and I'm pretty sure Mario was more
Yeah,
recognizable. Like
for sure.
Mario has so much value behind it, you know? Like it is what it is. We got another interesting question from a donator, Blinky. Thank you so much for the $5, dude. And he's asking, he said, what's the new C button only being free till March next year? Is
That's
that
pretty crazy.
weird? So, if you guys don't know, there's this new thing on the new Nintendo Switch called the C button, which launches essentially their version of Discord. It's like a chat feature where you can like basically jump into a Discord call with your like Nintendo friends, I guess, and with like accessories and stuff. You can have almost a whole streaming setup with this um whole thing. So, uh being free until March, again, this kind of seems like to me it's another subscription service that they're looking to like test out. They're going to see like how do people like the chat feature? Is it actually used? If we should keep it around. Like Nintendo's always trying out stuff like this.
Yeah.
And
Is it a separate than your online subscription though?
that's what I'm trying to figure out. I can't say for sure. I know that I thought it was included as part of Nintendo online services, but this comment makes me feel like they maybe said something along the way where it's like, it will be free until further notice. That's concerning, but yeah, no, I actually was very interested in their new chat feature. Like if they
Yeah, it
played
looks
their
cool.
cards right, they could create one of the easiest streaming platforms like console wise that there
Yeah.
is, because they have like a whole camera setup, a whole microphone setup, and a whole gameplay. And they literally showed in their demo of it, like basically what you see on Twitch streams and stuff, like someone playing a game, their face cam and audio all being streamed to friends in a Discord call. Like if
Yeah.
someone turns that into a Twitch streaming app, like this could be so easy to stream from Twitch, from the Switch too. That's gonna be awesome.
My first thought with all the camera and like chat stuff that they were showing off about like the games that you can play with the chat was Nintendo finally made a Connect. Like that was the
Yeah.
that was the first thing.
Actually, though, it kind of seemed like that.
But
Hashtag Xbox doing it sooner.
yeah, I mean, again, like guys, we're not defending them charging as much money as they are. I
We
will
can see both
maybe
sides.
play
Guys.
with it. I don't know. I didn't buy a Switch until like a year and a half later after the Switch came out. Like I don't have to have everything right away. I think that yeah, they have the exclusives. Nobody else can play them unless you own the console. It like that's kind of their reward, I guess, for keeping those exclusives for as long as they have. Nobody else has anything like that in the market anymore. So it's Nintendo is just kind of in a weird spot where nobody else in the industry is honestly anymore.
But you guys got to remember, if you compare the Nintendo Switch to the Xbox and the PlayStation, they have consistently outsold them
Oh, for sure.
for like a decade now. Like Nintendo has always been on top and actually kind of writes the rule book when it comes to some of these games, because they are frankly the best at it.
Yeah.
Like they have continued to dominate in the handheld gaming space. If you look at it as a console, they dominate in the console space. It's actually crazy what they've been capable of. So
Yeah.
they kind of can say whatever they want and do whatever they want because they just are great at what they've done. But Blinky came back with a little more clarification. So he was saying that the buttons functionality will be free until next year, at which point you'll have to pay for Nintendo Online services
Oh.
to get that in. Again, kind of feels
So-
like they're testing the waters.
Where
I feel
will
like-
you use it other than in Nintendo Live? Like, I get that. You can't just like sit down and talk on a PlayStation with other people, can you? Unless you have like PlayStation Network for you to play multiplayer online video games with. Like, why else would you want the functionality of the button if you're not playing for the multiplayer online anyway? Like,
I've seen some people like theorize that like they might be opening it up to apps like Zoom, apps like like what's the other one? just like web conferencing and stuff. Like
Yeah,
they're thinking that maybe like that they might be like trying to take almost a did they say Apple TV type approach where it's like they could become basically your one-stop shop for everything your TV needs.
that's
So
interesting.
it's an interesting theory. I don't know. I'm not convinced on that. I did see an interesting thing that was saying that at one point the Wii controller was supposed to be a TV remote, and they were going to do that with the Wii. Like they were just gonna make it so that the Wii was how you controlled your whole TV. Which for a while, like when I got the Wii, that's how I watched Netflix and everything. We watched it on the Wii. So anyway, PlayStation Network is free. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, it's absolutely not. If so, I've been scammed to an oblivion just to play Helldivers.
To play online and access certain features. So, yes, PlayStation Network is free, but to be able to play online for almost every single game, unless it's like Fortnite, does cost money. So, they have made distinctions in the past between games that require PlayStation and don't. Well,
Yeah.
so Blinky, I like where do you chat on a PlayStation if you're not chatting with other people inside of a video game? Do you just get on and chat with your friends on your PlayStation? I maybe that's what people do. I don't know. I've never.
The only reason I use the chat feature is in Call of Duty to absolutely embarrass my opponents for their poor performance. Now, so someone brought up a really interesting question right here. This is from Frank Guzman, who said, having realized that Sony will try to make a new handheld, will you think that it would be better or worse than the PSP? And do you think it will beat the Switch 2?
Not a
So
chance.
I recently did a post on this on Gareth Gamer Guys. I talked about what I'm calling the handheld war. Like we are moving into what I'm calling like the handheld gaming war because Xbox is rumored to be working on a handheld. PlayStation, there's leaks that have come out that they're working on a new PlayStation Portable. Obviously, we just got the Switch 2 release, and Steam now has the Steam Deck. Of all those consoles, the only one that I feel like has a legitimate chance of competing against like what the Nintendo Switch offers is the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Purely for two reasons. Number one, no fees when it comes to online playing. You will not have to pay a dime to play online. You just have to, well, you'll have to pay a dime to your internet service provider. But on top of that, you won't have to pay anything extra. And it will have the Steam library available to it, which is the probably biggest library available in the world right now. I would potentially argue, maybe besides like itch.io, but like that is the highest quality and like biggest library that is available to it. So like with free to play multiplayer and also the Steam library available to it, like that's the only thing that can really compete against it.
Yeah.
A PlayStation handheld, I think PlayStation's in kind of a tricky spot right now because they have tried to die on the hill of exclusives, but they just really don't have exclusives that are worth the spit, if you ask me. And then Xbox is making the right choice, I think, to try to like pivot into like let's just get on all the platforms possible and make it so that anyone can play Xbox Game Pass on any device possible because they're realizing hardware is expensive, software is cheap, and you can make way more money that way. So yeah. That's my thoughts on the handheld gaming war. Like the only real competitor to the Switch 2, it will be the Steam Deck. So that's my thoughts on that.
And I've owned Nintendo consoles, handheld consoles in every generation of Nintendo handhelds. Like I had the original Game Boy, I had the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Boy, Nintendo DS, DS Lite, 3DS. I've had everything. I have a hard time drawing a comparison between a Nintendo device like the Switch and the Steam Deck still. I don't know. I know they are both gaming consoles, but like the Steam Deck is you buy Nintendo consoles for Nintendo games.
Sure.
This is the first generation of Nintendo devices that have had such accessibility to third-party games. Like people did not publish to Nintendo consoles during the Wii era.
No.
It was just it was more expensive for them to port it to the Wii than it was for what they were going to make off of getting it They're like selling games on the Wii. The first game I ever played that wasn't like a real Nintendo type game that was made specifically for like a Nintendo device was, I think, Call of Duty World at War on the
Yep.
Wii. Like
Yep.
that was the first big port from another console over to a Nintendo device. Like there used to be a huge distinction between what you could play on your Xbox and what you could play on your Nintendo. So for me, like Nintendo just got segmented and kind of became its own ecosystem that wasn't even in the same arena as PlayStation and Xbox. Like Nintendo's never been in the conversation about the console wars or has never really been in the conversation about like other things that people talk about when it comes to console things before. I've always considered them their own thing. And
Yes.
like you play Nintendo for Nintendo.
Yes.
Somebody said Nintendo has always put out the best quality product. I agree. They have always put out games that don't have bugs,
Their
that
QA is
work.
unmatched, like truly
They
unmatched.
Yeah, they do what they're supposed to do as soon as you get them, and you can expect it to run and work and, be top of the line product day one. And
Yes.
I can confidently say I don't expect that from any other studio or any other video game because I've just had so many bad experiences with games that have been overhyped and over talked about. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think the Switch 2 is kind of this standalone thing that is just it's like buying Apple.
A
Like
little bit.
you either buy Apple or you buy Windows. To me, like you can use them. They're both computers, but I don't use my Mac for the same reason I use my desktop. Like I have a Mac
Their
because it's
use
a Mac, and
cases.
then I have a desktop because that kind of handles other things. The Switch will always be something. A Nintendo product will always be something I will have, and it doesn't matter if I have another console or not. Like I could have a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Steam Deck, but I would always have a Nintendo as well because it's just Nintendo. Like you
Yep.
can't there's no getting around it. And that's because of their exclusivity. That's because of their IP. It's because of, Mario and The Legend of Zelda and Donkey Kong and all these things that nobody else can offer. They've tried recreating the vibe of those video games, and nobody has been as successful as they have been at making these video games. So
With the caveat that also Nintendo will sue you into the ground if you try to make something like at Power World. So they
yeah,
kind of got the full brunt of it. But I will say, like to that extent as well, it was interesting to see that games like Cyberpunk 2077 are coming to the Switch too.
yeah,
Because that is kind of making it seem like they are opening it up to be more like a console
for
where people
sure.
can port to it and stuff.
Well, Switch
Um,
opened that up a lot as well. Like the
yeah,
original, the Switch, just in general, people started porting games over to the Switch because there was more money in it to be made. Now that it's the highest selling thing, but the Wii just wasn't normal, right? To
no,
get something
it was
ported to the
so
Wii,
hard to
you had to
port over.
figure out like the
Which
controls and
like one thing that I've observed, which this might I wonder if they did this intentionally, but one of the big things about their new Joy-Cons is the cursor-based movement controls.
yeah, that was dope.
That
That's
is
interesting.
but think about this. Think about how nice that will be for porting PC games to
I
the
was thinking
Switch.
about that. I'll have
Like,
to play around with the mouse functionality, the cursor functionality,
yeah,
to see if it actually feels good or not. Because
yeah,
I'm super interested in that. I would love to be able to play cursor mode of something like what is it, Marvel Rivals? Because I hate playing with a controller now. I'm so used to mouse keyboard. But if I can play with something that feels like a mouse, or if I could even use a mouse and have that be kind of like an alternative Joy-Con thing, maybe like some type of hardware software update in the future where you can connect a Bluetooth mouse instead of
yeah.
a Joy-Con and use that, I think that'd be cool.
No, I thought that was a super interesting move because I was like, oh my gosh, like any developer who uses mouse and keyboard as their primary input device, that
Yeah.
just made their lives for porting over to the Switch infinitely easier because you don't have to rework like your aiming system.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a super interesting move. I am also curious about it because like as someone who has played basically every console that is in existence, to play mouse and keyboard, you have to have a flat surface, and flat surfaces are
Yeah.
kind of hard to come by. Like you're almost gonna have to have
A desk.
a desk or a really smooth table in order to get that that cursor movement to
Yeah.
work. But I kind of thought I looked at that, and the first thing I thought of is like, oh my gosh, that's gonna make it so PC games can come to Switch way easier, which could be a huge power move in this upcoming handheld war if the freaking Switch 2 has basically a no-brainer port for developers who have PC games.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know. I'm probably not gonna buy the Switch 2 right off the bat. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like I love Nintendo. I've owned every Nintendo. I but I probably won't buy it straight off the bat because I like, economic times are hitting everybody. Like I totally understand where you guys are coming from. Like it is a lot of money to shell over for something like that. And me personally, like I'm not ready to spend the money on that, but I will own one eventually. And I'm excited for it, but I don't know. I can level with everybody who's saying that it is expensive. I totally level with that, but
yeah,
I'm not like mad at Nintendo for doing it.
Yeah.
Even if it was like $300, I probably wouldn't have bought it. If it was the price of the old console, I still probably wouldn't have bought it on day one. I probably would have waited for like Christmas or something,
Yeah.
So.
I am in the unique position, guys, where like this is my job to like you get these consoles and to review them and stuff. Like I feel very blessed to do that. So like I will be getting the Nintendo Switch day one, but it's because of that unique situation that I am in. Purely thanks to you guys, by the way. Thank you. And like I would be curious. Like I want to hear the questions you guys want to know about this device when I get it, because I want to my hope is that I can have like a really good opinion on it before the holidays, so I can legitimately recommend whether or not it's a good move for you to get like around the time when it will probably be at its most affordable using like deals and stuff online. So if you guys have questions about the Switch 2, I will be getting one day one. I will probably also be getting all of the bells and whistles with it just for the sake of like thoroughly reviewing all that it has to do. And yeah, I'll be deep diving into it. I'm actually going to be buying a Steam Deck here pretty soon to do the same with a Steam Deck, because I feel like, again, the handheld wars are coming, guys. That's the next generation of gaming. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet on that. So I really want to have a good idea for where things are going and what's the best thing. We got another question in chat. How are we feeling about the 450 price? It's right between my hopes of 400 and 500 expectations for the base console. I was pretty stoked. So my understanding is that for $499, so basically $500, you will get both the base console and a $90 game. So you're basically getting the console plus a game at what is that, like a 30% off for that $499 price point, which I think personally is like that's what I expect out of a console these days. Like what was the PS? What did they just announce the PS Pro at? Like $700 or something like that?
Yeah, that's
Like, don't buy that. Like for what you will get with a Nintendo, they would be way more worthwhile than like a PlayStation Pro. I'm sorry.
And I will say the thing that I'm the most sad about not getting a Switch day one is actually not for any of the new content. It's the fact that I will not be able to play Wind Waker day one, because I've been looking forward to that so much. GameCube, like give me the GameCube port on my regular Switch. Please, I want that so bad. I just want to play Wind Waker. Like the new games are going to be dope and stuff. Like don't get me wrong, Donkey Kong's going to be a ton of fun. I'm excited to play. I'll still be able to play the other games on my Switch though. That's the thing. The only thing I feel like is truly exclusive, because everything else will have just a Switch 1 port when it comes out, is that stupid online GameCube. That's the only thing that day one I feel like is going to be exclusive to the Switch 2. Yeah. And I'm so sad about that.
That is sad. So it's really interesting because like I'm married. My wife was a huge GameCube gamer as a kid. Yeah. And when I told her that there's that like GameCube games are going to be coming to the Switch 2, she's like, please buy it for me. Which again, props to Nintendo for creating a thing that my wife, who's not a huge gamer, loves. Like it is truly a unique experience that there are companies that can reach people who aren't typically gamers. Like that is a really unique position to have. And the fact that like my wife is sitting here like, we got to get that console. Like she wants that console just to play a childhood game, means that like Nintendo has done their research and they know exactly who they're thinking about with this whole thing.
Well, the other thing is like, we both have kids, right?
Right.
And to me, you don't buy an Xbox or a PlayStation for a kid. You buy a Nintendo for a kid. That's
No.
just how it's always been. Like, I know that now you can get any games on your Switch, but, like, in the past, all the games that you could get on Nintendo products were family friendly, and to me,
Yeah.
that's still the family friendly product where
Oh, yeah.
non-video gamers play. Like, I have family that doesn't play any video games except for Mario Kart or Mario Party. They don't consider themselves gamers at all, but they will play the heck out of Mario Kart. Like, it's
Which
just
again, like,
Nintendo's done this weird thing where they just kind of throw out the hook and people take the bait, even if they're not gamers at all. They just love the stuff that they make. It's such a weird thing.
it's impressive, like, truly, as
Yeah.
someone who has done a lot of marketing in his career, like, seeing them be able to basically be a gaming console without having gamer slapped all over all the stuff they do is so
Mhm.
impressive. And, like, that is something to be considered in this whole debate is, like, the parental controls and the parental like, what's appropriate for kids. Nintendo, hands down, is the best thing you can get for kids these days. Like, it's the safest, it's definitely the, like, most age appropriate as far as overall content on the libraries.
Yeah.
Yes, they have expanded into other things, but overall, like if you have a kid who likes video games, you're getting them a Nintendo Switch because it's portable. It has like actually kid friendly games. Like I don't know, like I can't even think of a kid friendly game on the Xbox or PlayStation besides the Bluey game. Like what else is there on the other platforms? They all adhere to their like hardcore age veteran
Yeah.
like us type guys instead of
Mhm.
kids. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the people that are gonna get it. I think it's gonna be super dope. But yeah, I think honestly though, like with the conference, they blew my expectations out of the water with what they announced. I think that there is above and beyond more content that I was hoping for. And I was going to say one of the things I think is so interesting because when they do like re-release the same games on new consoles, Nintendo just in general, I don't know if you remember when Super Mario World 3D came out for the Switch, even though it was a game that was on the Wii U and then it was on like another console as well. They added in an expansion that was like a Bowser game that was
yeah.
basically an open world Mario game. And I've never played Super Mario 3D World, but I've beaten that Bowser game like 3 times because it was just so much fun. And I'm looking forward to seeing like the content that they're re-releasing because every single game that they announce, it's going to be a port over to like with the extra money and stuff too,
Yeah.
right? Every single time they do that, they do give you really good content to enjoy, you know?
I
I
totally agree.
guess I'm just salty that it costs extra for that content instead of it just coming with because you're buying an old game for it. So why
Yeah.
not just,
I think that's a
throw
legitimate reason to kind of be salty about it. The
yeah.
other thing, somebody brought this up in my on in the comment section of the video I made talking about all the announcements from the Switch. But one of the things to consider is if we look at the PlayStation Pro announcement, like this is the new generation of PlayStation that they just announced. They didn't announce a single exclusive with that, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on this one, but like they did not announce like a legit like usually when you launch a new console, you launch it alongside a
A big
sweet
game.
exclusive, right?
Isn't that
Nintendo like
the game, the Mario Kart?
well, yeah, so but like along with Mario Kart, they also PlayStation when they announced their PlayStation Pro or whatever it's called, I don't even know what it's called, PlayStation 7. I freaking K. Whatever
Hmm.
it is, like they did not announce like a legitimate like alongside exclusive to make me be like, yeah, I want to get the
Yeah,
PlayStation
yeah, yeah.
Pro for this thing. Nintendo, on the other hand, goes and announces, yeah, you're gonna get Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Kirby Air Ride. Like they announced like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
and then the biggest one from Software,
That
Dusk
was
Bloods.
crazy.
Dusk
That
Bloods.
a
Like
From Software exclusive for Nintendo, I never
unheard of.
thought I would see the day.
Unheard of.
That's bizarre. That is such the weirdest combination to me, but like it's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be
It's
fun.
It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be fun. It's like it looks like freaking Bloodborne and what's the Souls game that they have? Elden Ring had a
Yeah.
baby. Like it looks good. But like my thing with that is it's like I feel like they are legitimately adding so much value to this new console,
Oh yeah.
whereas some of these other guys are struggling to come up with something like PlayStation. I'm sorry. Like that PlayStation Pro is a huge disappointment.
Oh yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
and
Well,
so like
okay.
place at least Nintendo with the release of this new console has added so much value to like every piece of the hardware that it actually feels like it's
Yeah.
worth the price point they're putting on it compared to some of these other people. Sorry, PlayStation, you kind of let me down, my guys. Anyway, I think that's interesting to consider because I know a lot of people are upset about like the pricing and stuff, but at the same time, like think about like the Switch was released initially back in what 2014, 2016. It's been
It's
out for
old,
almost
yeah.
a decade.
Yeah.
And they instead of making incremental upgrades, which they made a few like minor things, like they did an OLED Switch and they did like
Yeah.
the Switch Lite, I think is what it was called. Instead of like doing that over and over and over again, they're like, let's actually build a legitimately better product. And they
Yeah,
did. Like I sincerely think that what they are putting out there is a fantastic product.
definitely.
Like I'm sorry, but I think it's worth the price point. It really is. And the exclusives that they announced alongside of it that you will only be able to play on that device adds even more to that value. But the price point again, like I can totally get behind everyone when I say like sucks that it's priced like that. It
Yeah.
does. But it's where we're at.
So I wanted to run through the things that I'm most excited about from the
I hit
Nintendo
it.
thing. So, a couple things I thought were pretty dope were obviously the Zelda expansions, the Switch 2 editions of them with like new content. Metroid Prime 4. So
Yep.
stoked for that one. That one's going to be awesome.
Beyond. That one's gonna be sweet.
Don't care about Kirby too much. Don't care about Pokemon. I've kind of lost my interest in Pokemon over the last little bit. Dragon Drive seemed interesting. Hyrule
It'll be
Warriors.
unique for that cursor control
Yeah.
movement. They
It's
always
like
do something
the
like that.
punch game or whatever.
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors, I'm excited for the story. I don't love like the Dynasty Warrior type games, but I'm excited for the extra lore drop of what happened essentially before the Breath of the Wild. So that'll be cool. GameCube stuff is going to be dope. And then obviously Donkey Kong, Mario Kart, Dusk Bloods, Air Riders, kind of neither here nor there with that. But then some of the other like dopest things to me, Deltarune, the new chapters. That's awesome that they showed that. Um, they had the Hollow Knight Silk Song, which has been teased for years, and they finally have like a release year for it. People thought it was going to come out in 2023. It's one of the most anticipated indie games ever. So if you haven't played
Silk
the
Song is
first
big.
one, if you haven't played Hollow Knight, you need to play through Hollow Knight. I think Hogwarts Legacy coming is a big one for my wife. She loves Hogwarts Legacy, and having it on the Switch would be dope.
It
But the
is on the
other
Switch
ones,
currently though. I think they're
oh, it
doing
is.
it's the same thing. It's like an upgrade,
Oh, okay,
which
okay,
I have played that game on my PlayStation at like 4K and 60 frames per second.
yeah,
Gorgeous game. Like
yeah,
one of the games that I actually do think that having the top tier graphics is really eye opening for that game
yeah,
because it's Hogwarts, man. Like it's amazing.
yeah.
So
Enter the Gungeon 2, another one of the best indie game roguelikes that's come out. I love Enter the Gungeon. That one is really good. But then the other one that I was so hyped as soon as they saw it was that Project 007. It just,
yes, yeah,
oh
from
my
Hitman.
gosh, dude, I
Yes, from
got
IOI.
chill. I haven't seen anything like that in forever. Just that soundtrack. Dun 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 dun.
That was sick. I
Oh
forgot about
man.
that. Yes, that is huge. There, yeah, that's the again. They have these relationships with developers where
Oh yeah.
obviously, like, it makes sense in both cases for them to work together, and they're getting some incredible content, like a 007 Hitman game. I am so here for that.
Did
Like
you ever play Golden? What was it
GoldenEye,
GoldenEye?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
dude,
on the 64, yeah, that was like one of my
classic.
favorite things.
I played I think every single Nintendo version of the 007 games. Like I loved 007. It will always be one of the classics for me. Um the other one that I haven't seen a ton of people talk about was the FF7. That one's interesting. That's a or not Final Fantasy, sorry. Um the Xbox or the GameCube game that they ended up porting was the racing game. I thought that was really, really interesting because that's where Captain
Yeah,
Falcon's from. And that's not
yeah,
like a
that's right.
huge American market video game. So I thought that's really interesting to finally get like a good example of where Captain Falcon is from. Get him in here, I guess. I'll play that one. So
Yeah, and um going back to just like the GoldenEye and like the nostalgia of that, like that's an IP that's been long like a favorite of Nintendo and
yeah,
stuff. Like
for sure.
freaking me and my friends would play GoldenEye in one of my buddy's basements in
Yeah,
high school because that's like how fun it was. Even after like when was the 64 released in the 90s?
yeah.
That thing is classic.
It
Anyway,
was like 95 or
7?
96.
I thought it was 7 when I could be terribly wrong. But again, like just yeah, that's super stoked. One of the things that not a lot of people are talking about that I'm really excited about is the two USB-C ports on top and
Mm,
bottom.
yes.
It is such a stupid simple feature, and yet like it just does leaps and bounds for the accessibility of that product.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, trying to play like certain games while charging at the same time as a virtual reality user where battery is your biggest limiter in all things you do, like getting good charging stuff happening is just one of the biggest things. But like with the Switch adding like another USB-C port that can be used for both charging or accessories, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I feel like the Switch is also I'm hoping they open it up to like some accessory companies to make some new stuff for the
Oh,
Switch
definitely. Yeah.
because I feel like that could go like
Keep your
I've
eyes on
always loved
Kickstarter.
Nintendo for the weird stuff they do. Ah,
Yeah.
there goes my AI camera again. But yeah, no, I did like such a simple thing, adding two USB-C ports, but it just tells me that they actually listen to their
Yeah.
players and actually like do user experience design tests and realize, hey, this is a pain point. Let's
Yeah.
address it. Like that's just huge to me. I don't know.
One of the other games that isn't on the list that I was looking at that I did want to mention I'm stoked for is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4.
I did see that. Yeah.
Dude, that was like 5 seconds up on that screen, but I had Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on my Nintendo 64. And
That
that
is like a genre of gaming that we haven't seen a lot from in a while that is kind of making a resurgence, and I'm
yeah,
so here for it.
I've heard
Like
they're
in,
making a
in high
new
school.
one.
They are making a new one. So Activision is the owner of Tony Hawk Skate
Mhm.
Pro. And they did like a whole kind of fun thing in Call of Duty where they put a skateboard in the game as a melee weapon
Cool.
and like announced that they're making a new one. But the fact that they're like revamping the IP for like other consoles and stuff, like I just think that's awesome. Like
Well, I have the 1 and 2 remake on the Epic Game Store, and they did a really good job with those. I played and beat both of them. It took me like a week and a half, but I think I've got everything inside of both those games. So you better believe I will be playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. That's like for me, like my taste in music is heavily influenced by the Tony Hawk Pro Skater video games. Like a big part of why I am the person that I am today, which is crazy to say, but is because of Tony Hawk Pro Skater video games. Like a lot of my favorite things are from that game. So I don't know. It'll be fun to have it.
That's cool. I do love that, and I do again being like I think Nintendo knows that they are like the family console, and so I think a lot of these things that they're doing is they're like, hey, let's add value to both kids and parents, and make
Yeah.
it so that there's like something for everyone to play on this console. Because like straight up with the library that they announced alone on this console, if you were to compare it like flat out against everything else, they're just killing it as like a
Yeah.
family console that if you bought one thing for everyone to have something to do on, that's the console. It is.
Yeah. No, it's just again, Nintendo will always be this like weird force that nobody else can really mess with.
You can't reckon with it. It's
It's
just
the
impossible.
brand. It's just the brand, and like they can kind of do whatever they want, and people will grumble. They'll be upset. But what are you gonna do? You want to play Mario? You want to play Zelda? You're gonna have to either pirate it or get a Nintendo product, and pirating it is pretty hard nowadays. They make it a lot harder.
I did see that was like the top comment in one of my comment sections. They're like, yo ho,
Yeah.
$90 means it's a pirate's life for me. Don't pirate, guys. It's illegal. but no, it's yeah, no, pirating continues to be harder and harder, and like also a lot of like the punishments for pirating just don't feel
Yeah.
worth it. Like they're not only going
No,
to
for
take
sure.
away that game from you, but they'll take away like any library you have associated with that game.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, like this is something that comes up in Call of Duty all the time. It's like the cheaters and stuff are just making things harder because the people who are actually getting punished are the people who are following the rules,
Yeah.
which sucks. But that's crazy sad. But I don't know, man. I'm stoked about the Nintendo Switch 2. Like I know the prices are controversial and whatnot, but it looks like an awesome piece of hardware, and the library that's coming alongside with it has huge
Yeah.
value to it. And I'm excited. I'm like I said, I'm gonna be getting it as soon as I possibly can, and then I will do a review. So if anyone has questions on that, be sure you join like our Discord and whatnot, and
Yeah.
drop them in the chat because we will be messing around with it.
I just think it's everything that everyone wanted, just with a little bit of extra price, but that'll
That is what I would expect nowadays out of like new console reveals.
Yeah.
Like that, like we had that episode a couple of episodes back where we talked about is tech lame. Like this is the first time in a while, and I was like, tech
I'm
is
so
cool
hyped.
again.
Yeah,
We got something
for it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like holy crap! Like this is what like the Apple product reveals used to be. It's like
Yes.
this, where it's like major improvement, huge new library asset and everything. But
Well, the
yeah.
Donkey Kong reveal was crazy. Nobody
Oh,
was expecting that. That
went so hard. That went so hard. Like they did such a good job with it.
Yeah.
Like again, testament to Nintendo for just doing such a good job in all aspects. Like it's not like they just succeed in one thing. Their marketing departments and
Yeah.
everything are just killing it. Like good job, guys. Like seriously,
And-
my hat's off to you, Nintendo.
I think the only thing that I am upset about, which I'm kind of giving up hope that there will ever be another one of these good ever again, is there's no Star Fox game. Samus got its day though, you know.
Samus is back.
Metroid Prime got its day. Maybe one day again they will make a dope Star Fox game. And I'm just waiting for that because that is another top tier IP for me. So
They might with the GameCube stuff they're doing. They might bring
Yeah.
back. They might bring back Star Fox Assault. That's a possibility.
is that the one where you ran around on the little planet? It was like the open world Star Fox game.
It was more open. It was like as close to like a third person shooter as you could get in Star Fox. Like me and my friends in junior high used to play that like a FPS. We'd go over to the house and play local like multiplayer.
Yeah.
Tons of fun.
Okay. No, that's not the one I'm thinking about.
It was a GameCube one. The one that I'm talking
Yeah.
about is the GameCube one. Lots of fun, great storylines, super fun missions and stuff like that.
No, I definitely play that. I'm thinking of Star Fox Adventures. That's the one I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
playing on the GameCube, which was a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
blast too.
Star Fox.
I just
Adventures.
technology is getting to the point now. I think they could make an open universe exploration Star Fox game.
Which
like-
they proved with Link. They proved with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild that is wildly successful and
Yeah.
extremely fun for people to play. Like heck, I would pay big money to play a Star Fox branded fetching what's the game called? The big space exploration one that everyone's always talking about. Not Star
Oh.
Citizen, but the one that's like released and it was crap and then it kept getting better and better and better.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Gold.
Let me find it real fast.
Ah,
No
chat,
Man's
help us out.
Sky?
No Man's Sky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Friggin' a Star Fox version of No Man's Sky would go so hard.
So to me, that's what Starlink Battle for Atlas could have been. I don't
Yeah.
know if you ever saw that. That's the one that was I think it was Ubisoft that made it, but it was if you bought it on the Switch, you had Star Fox exclusive
Skins, yeah.
content. No, full content. You had more storylines. Like you had a Star Fox character that you could play as.
Oh, yeah.
You could play as Falco too, I think. But yeah, there was an exclusive storyline that was based off of Star Fox, and it had Wolf and like all of the main Star Fox antagonists and stuff inside of it.
That's
They
awesome.
they did a good job of like the space exploration. I thought the space exploration was really smooth. You could just like fly off of a planet
Yeah.
and then you'd be in open space and there was no load times, and then you'd fly across the galaxy to another planet. And they did a good job of filling it with things to do and like fun activities. The only complaint I had was you were stuck flying in low gravity on the planet that you were in. You never got to leave your ship. So
Yep.
if they could combine something like that where you have these worlds that are generated and you can get out of your ship, play as Star Fox, then get in your ship and fly off the planet, That would be. They need to do that for Star Fox. To me, that is like the best way to honor what Star Fox is and always has been. And that would be like the dream for a Star Fox fan like me is to have. And which is hilarious that I love Star Fox so much because I don't love sci-fi. But Star Fox is like one of the best games that I don't know. One of my
Okay.
favorite games of all time. So
Not as interesting. Well, we'll see. I mean, they know the value of their exclusives and the IP they have. I can't imagine they wouldn't trail back to Star Fox at some point. But
yeah.
maybe that's more of a cult classic type thing.
Yeah, the style of Star Fox games they just don't make anymore. So
Yeah.
they'd have to redefine the genre of what Star Fox is. That's the
Which, with
hard
this
part.
new era, I do truly think that if there were any time they were going to do it, it would be now, because they're definitely opening it up to like more games and consoles and types and genres. And I'm here for it.
Heck yeah.
I'm here for it.
Well, cool.
Well,
it's gonna be a good time. I'm
gonna be a good
excited for
time.
Switch 2. You're right. We did have that long podcast about is tech boring, but tech after yesterday is not as boring anymore.
We gotta definitely remember that, like, hopefully somewhere up in those big office buildings of all these big people, they remember like
The tech is supposed to be fun.
tech is supposed to be fun, and like, I mean, they want to make it fun too. Like, they want to be I'm sure they will. I don't know. I've never actually worked for a big company, but it'd be fun to be a part of something like that, where it's like, we released the console, we released the game. I don't know, but it all comes down to money, chat, and that's what it's all about.
It's always about that.
It always comes down to the green. The green. Well, anyway, chat, if you got any last minute questions about the Switch or anything you'd like us to discuss, now is the time. Otherwise, we got to do some recommendations and GTFO.
Yeah.
I should bring back the Twilight Princess. That's not a bad one.
Yeah, Twilight Princess pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So someone in chat, Corsair, you're saying that you got to get Red Team to play Orion Drift. We did. We played Orion Drift last Friday. Actually, we all jumped in, the whole team. We jumped in and we're playing Orion Drift, and I was showing them around. It was fun. There was some interesting ideas from that 3D printing video. When for real? Oh, there's some major news in the 3D printing space that like we can't even go into it today. We'll be talking forever. But freaking Bamboo Labs just released a new printer that is mind blowing. How cool it is! It's called the H2 or something. It's like it's not just a 3D printer, but it's also like a laser cutter and an engraver, and it is insane. But that thing costs like $5,000, and I'm like, I don't think I'm quite there yet.
It's only $2,000, dude. Come on.
No, but if you get like the laser engraver and everything else, like the full package is like $5,000.
Yeah.
But that means that their other printers are now super affordable because they lowered the price now that they have a new printer everyone's getting. So I'll probably get me a Bamboo something or other pretty soon here to start messing around with that.
Yeah, the Bamboo Lab A1 minis are okay. Yeah, the A1 mini is only $240. That's crazy.
That's so affordable. And that's a great printer. Like,
yeah.
We need a COD game on the Switch too. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw actual COD make it over there. Like, for real.
You say that. I don't think we do, though, honestly.
Nah. I don't see why not.
Let COD die.
We can't let it die. What else? How else will I spend my Thursday nights raging with the boys?
Playing good games like Helldivers.
Yeah, see, all my friends are stuck on Xbox, and Helldivers is an exclusive. I've been there, dude. I've been there.
Bummer.
It's one of the reasons I'm testing out the Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck is a much more affordable, like, entry to PC type games than like actually buying a full PC. So
that's very true.
If it goes well with the Steam Deck, we will see. I don't know. Sell VR on Switch when? Oh gosh.
When they release a VR
when they come up with some fetching virtual reality stuff. If Nintendo made VR,
their controllers potentially, with all this new technology they're adding into it, I bet they could make a VR play with the controllers.
I'm like, if they just made Tears of the Kingdom virtual reality, that would be one of the biggest selling points.
Dude, give me freaking just a redo of Ocarina of Time. Give me that grappling hook and let me fly around all over the Ocarina of Time world.
Ocarina of Time, freaking like, I'm sorry, but like, why would they want Sail VR on there when they could just remake Wind Waker in VR? Like, I'd be cooked. There's no chance. How did we get from Switch 2 to 3D printers? That's the Practically Reality podcast, boys. Anything and everything is all full game here.
All tech.
All tech, all gaming news. Anything that's practically a reality is our duty to discuss.
We even talk about Roomba lawnmowers, you know.
Yeah, which speaking of which,
I was gonna ask about that.
might be getting that pretty soon.
heck
They
yeah.
actually they emailed me recently and they're like, "Hey, like, you ready to start mowing your lawn?" And I literally sent them a picture of like a foot of snow outside. I was like, "Not quite, we ain't
That's
there yet."
funny.
Fetching Utah, man. POV sale on Switch. The Switch turns into a sale and dies. And
Here, you guys want a 3D printer? Let me show you my project right now. There's
Oof.
mine.
there
It's
she
all
be.
taken apart.
Jeez.
Yep, it's all. I have to put a new motherboard in mine, but then I'll tell you guys about all the fun stuff that I'm doing with mine.
Do we know what the Silk Song release date is?
Just 2025.
Yeah, we don't have a specific date yet, chat.
Yep.
We do not. Oh no. This is a good week for gaming news. Switch 2 stuff coming in hot is great. Some new. Did you see the new VR Beyond headset? The Beyond 2?
Oh yeah, I did. That one's interesting.
That's huge. That is what they are doing, what Meta should have been doing for the past 5 years, which is listening to their consumers and making small changes and improvements asked for by the players.
It's so funny that Big Screen is the company doing this for me. Like the people that made just like a movie theater in VR are the ones
Are now producing one of the most popular PC VR headsets on the market. Yeah, no.
Can you like play games with it, or is it just for viewing?
You can. I know a lot of people. We've had VR Central in on here in our chat a couple of times. He's a big streamer on Twitch and whatnot, and he streams using like it's unparalleled. Like it's so lightweight and it's so comfortable to use.
That's cool.
I haven't actually tried it. Again, this is kind of hearsay from the people that I know have used it. That it's a no-brainer as far as like if you're gonna spend long amounts of times in virtual reality. So like your hardcore VR chat players, your hardcore streamers and whatnot, it is the device to do it with.
Does it have any wireless capabilities to connect to your computer?
Not yet. It's one of the big things that they keep asking the CEO about. What I think they are doing, this is kind of my theory, is they're gonna nail the product at the PC VR level, and then make a play for like the standalone market, because
I respect that.
Like right now, Meta is tooting this horn of like, hey, we are going to be like anyone can have our storefront. And like if they're actually going to do that, they're actually going to make it so like the Meta store is available on any device. Then at that point, it's just like, okay, well, what's the most fun hardware to have this on? At that point, it'll be way. So I think they're biding their time to see if Meta actually follows through with that. And also there's a couple of other headsets that are in development. We've got like Android XR coming out soon.
I heard they were very disappointing at GDC though.
Yeah, the problem is everyone keeps thinking they need to compete with Apple, and I'm like, no.
They need to compete with Meta.
No, don't even compete with Meta. Compete with the market who is begging you to make something that's actually usable. Like nobody's addressed the market properly, in my opinion. Make Crab a pet in sell VR, I beg. All right, Rusty Ducks. It's a fair suggestion. Anyway.
Well, cool. Let's jump into some recommendations.
Sounds good.
I'm going to recommend Hades 2. It's a game that's going to be on the Switch 2, but is also out right now. It's a really, really fun roguelike. I think it's one of the best roguelikes that are like modern roguelikes that are available. So I would definitely check it out. Ton of fun to play. You can spend a lot of time in there, and I think it only costs like $20 to $30. So for other people that want to buy cheaper games, you can spend a lot of time playing. It's a good one. $25.
$25. Hang on just a second. I'm trying to figure out what this is. I had a couple of interesting games come up. I just gotta answer this message real fast.
Oh yeah, you're good.
What? I've been playing a lot of Orion Drift. I really like that game.
Really?
They just made a major announcement as well that they're actually teaming up with VRML, which is Virtual Reality Major Leagues, and are hosting an entire tournament in Phoenix.
Cool.
Like single-handedly, this one game is bringing virtual reality esports back from the dead. So, if you guys haven't looked into that, there's a huge esports tournament happening between VRML and Orion Drift. If you haven't checked it out yet, definitely go check out their Discord for it. They've got some cool stuff. There's gonna be like real cash prizes and stuff for the winners of the tournament. Like it's a legit like VR esports tournament. So I want to make that one of my recommendations today, just because I'm so proud of that team bringing back VR esports.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like I just think that's so cool to see that back in.
I still need to get in there with you.
It's so fun. It's actually a ton of fun. So I'll make Orion Drift another recommendation, but I did play something different. There's just a lot of cool stuff happening in gaming right now. Like freaking the automatons are making a push for Malevelon Creek again. The major order right now is literally hold Malevelon Creek. And I'm like, there's one of the craziest battles that has ever happened in Helldivers happening on Polus X right now, which is insane. I jumped into a really old game this last week. I jumped back into Star Wars Battlefront from 2005.
Nice.
Which still holds up as one of the best best games I've ever played. And then, gosh, what was the other one I was playing this week? I jumped into kind of like some oldies but goodies. What was the other one? I have downloaded and installed Red Dead Redemption on my Xbox. Nice. And so pretty soon here we're gonna be doing some Red Dead Redemption streaming, boys. But also, my team, we're super close to having one of our game prototypes ready to test with real players, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, dude.
I was playtesting it this morning, and I'm very excited about it. So big stuff is happening at Red Team as well. So it's just too much. I love it. I love it when like everything starts happening all at once, but I really feel like when it rains, it fetching pours.
No, that all sounds really exciting. That's super cool that you guys are getting so close to being ready to show off some of your side projects. I'm really excited for that.
It's been really interesting because like we started prototyping out and then we went to GDC and listened to a whole bunch of people basically tell us like you're stupid if you like prototype too many things out. But I'm sitting here at the same time like
with 3.
Yeah, you're probably right. Anyway, but we're so close with this one prototype that's like it just made sense to like let's at least finish it out and prototype and see like what the response is from people.
Yeah.
So that will be coming out very soon, and I'll be streaming it when it is out, testing it out and stuff, and we'll see where we go from there with it. Nice. It'll be interesting.
My last recommendation isn't a video game,
but
it is a game.
Oh no!
This is called Shadow Dark. So it's a Dungeons and Dragons type game, tabletop role playing game. So Dungeons and Dragons right now is pretty complicated to get into. But there's like an open license for people to make Dungeons and Dragons type games and use like their D20 system that Dungeons and Dragons uses. And Shadow Dark is a game that's based off of that D20 system, but it's like an old school version. It's more like the original Dungeons and Dragons that came out in the 80s. It's super popular right now. One of the indie tabletop role-playing games. But on Kickstarter right now, they're doing a campaign for their setting, which is called the Western Marches. And it's about to hit $2 million in Kickstarter backs. So it's got like 6 days left until the campaign is over, and they're going to hit the next $2 million stretch goal for sure. I think it's at $1.98 million in Kickstarter. So if you want to play Dungeons and Dragons but are super intimidated, because like if you want to get into D&D, these are all the source books that you need for the like dungeon mastering stuff. Let me see it.
Cool.
This is Dungeons and Dragons. If you want to just get all the rules, this is Dungeons and Dragons.
And lose all your money doing it. That is
This is Shadow Dark. That's in comparison.
D&D
So-
for dummies. I love it.
Yeah, way simpler, way easier to get into. So check Shadow Dark out. You can get a free art or PDF of the basic rules on their website, and then you can actually just start playing from that basic PDF that you get on there. It's very easy to get into. So.
Cool. I do need to expand my. Oh, you know what the other game I played this week that I didn't mention? So I played Fragpunk the other week, remember? And then I jumped into CS2,
Okay.
Counter-Strike 2, because I was like, okay, this is the game that everyone is basing it on. So I jumped into CS2, Counter-Strike 2, and just hated it. Like, just hated that game with all my heart. It was kind of funny, and then it actually made me want to jump back into Fragpunk because like Fragpunk's gameplay was
a better version of it.
Better, yeah.
That's what Valorant is too. I enjoy Valorant more than I like CS:GO.
I wonder if I would enjoy Valorant more after playing CS. But again, is Counter-Strike 2 and Counter-Strike Go the same thing? Is that like are they
so? CS:GO is Counter-Strike 1, I guess you could say. CS:GO is really old. That's what Counter-Strike is, like a franchise of games. Go is called Global Offensive, I think. There's like 5 or 6 different versions of Counter-Strike though. So I think CS:GO, CS2 or whatever that you played is the newest rendition of it. But CS:GO was the most popular. So they used a lot of the same mechanics from CS:GO and CS2, but just kind of visually updated everything.
Cause like I was trying to figure out. Like I was very confused, like jumping into Counter-Strike. I was like, which one is it? Because everyone says like, oh, this is CS:GO, and I was like,
yeah,
but you can't actually get CS:GO off of Steam that I could see. I might be crazy. Like this is just like I'm new to the PC gaming market. I feel stupid every time I open up my PC. Like I don't know how I got a fancy piece of paper saying that I should be allowed to like do these things, but
well, let me know if you want to play Valorant sometime. I'll jump in. I'm super rusty, but that is a game that my computer can still run because it's a dinosaur at this point.
Oh, that was the other game that I played this week. It was oh great. I got an accent change on Twitch. What did they ask for? Change my accent to what? What did they ask for? I can't find the stupid chat button. Oh, I can't find it.
Oh man, we're at an hour 30.
Holy crap. Yeah, no kidding.
All right.
Anyway, change accent, boy. All right, there's my accent. Change it to anything. All right, I'll just talk like this for the rest of the time. We're really excited about the Nintendo Switch, lads, and you'll be hearing more about it as soon as we know more about it, and as soon as I've got myself one in my hands, and we'll be doing it for the great Scotland
in June.
June 5th.
Not that
I'm
far
excited.
away.
Really am excited. Anyway, well, guys, if you didn't catch us live, you can catch us next week, hopefully on Wednesday. I don't think I have anything that should be interfering. Okay. It has been my fault that I haven't been able to get on. I am to blame, chat. I am to blame.
We'll try and get a guest on.
Oh, yeah. We could probably bring on one of my devs. Probably talk to Churchill, the lead dev behind Sylvia right now. Sick. I'll ping him about it. He's going to actually start working down in a new office space. So he might be in that move area. We'll see. We will see.
Nice.
Anyway, you can catch us live most Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Or 1 p.m. Pacific time. And if you don't catch us live, you can catch us on any of the Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your podcasts. We are there, guys. Follow us if you want to get notifications when new episodes go live. And if you have any questions or things that you would like us to talk about in the podcast, be sure to join the Get the Gamer Discord and get the podcast role. That will open it up so that you guys can get notified of podcast things, announcements, notifications, yada, yada, and ask us questions or things you'd like us to discuss. Other than that, guys, this is the podcast signing out, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. We need a better outro.
We just say, see you later, guys.
Skibidi Toilet Rizzler. Peace.
Peace.